been a while since I've been filming or putting anything up, reviews, everything. Like 3 weeks. Sorry, still having breakfast. Anyway, time for the review. Spider-Man: Far From Home. I've already seen the movie twice. That's right, 2 times. Went to the midnight showing Tuesday, 12:01 a.m. And then I saw it again later that night, 7 p.m. Had tickets for both showings. I wanted to do a review after I saw it at midnight, but I was tired. I came home, I was sleepy, so I went to sleep. Did do the review when I came home from work, went straight to the movies when it was time. Now I'm ready. Now I watched some non-spoiler reviews, you know, people that I trust, because you can watch a non-spoiler review and somebody thinks they're being vague and they're saying too much. Too much. They're alluding to something, or you just get to talking and then all of a sudden you mention what somebody has or what happened, and you're trying to be vague about the scene, but it actually gives away where the direction of the movie is going, or what characters are going to do what, when, where. So I just going to do a spoiler review, I guess. So it's kind of hard to talk about stuff. I don't want to do this and then do a spoiler review. I don't get that many views, so what's the point, right? Anyway, yeah, so there's going to be some spoilers in here, but what I like to do in my reviews is I don't like to say everything that happened. I'm just going to talk about some things that I like. So you're not going to get everything spoiled in here, but it's still a spoiler review, so don't watch this unless you don't mind spoilers. And if you already seen the movie, cool, welcome. So let's get into it. I love this movie. I love the direction. I love the director, how he does these movies. And I made peace a long time ago with the fact that we're not going to get a direct, exact adaptation, translation, whatever, from the comics to these movies. We're not. Sometimes people say, oh, that was so much more comic accurate. And my thing is, cool, but there's going to be aspects that's going to be different. You know, time periods, certain characters, their look, things are going to be different. And this movie is very different. They don't go with Mary Jane. You have Michelle, which there was a Michelle in Peter's life at one point in time in the comics. Lots of stuff is going to be different. So I'm cool with that. I'm just trying to see how much of what I know from the comics they put in there, and then how much they just entertain me with what's new and works. You know, Mysterio, loved him. Jake Gyllenhaal's a part of this. For those of you who know, he had history with Spider-Man 2. He almost replaced Tobey Maguire when he hurt his back on Seabiscuit, the movie or so, I think it was. Yeah, he hurt his back, and I was surprised because I was 19, 20, whatever. I was surprised Tobey made it. I'm like, oh, okay, they're filming. Cool, all right, good, he's good. Because Jake Gyllenhaal almost replaced him, and Jake Gyllenhaal was dating Kirsten Dunst at the time, so she was playing Mary Jane. So for him to be in this movie was kind of cool. And then from the trailers, we see Mysterio, and those who know Mysterio are like, what? Man, whatever. I think most people's like that. And Kevin Smith was like, I know Quentin Beck. I wrote for Quentin Beck. He's the villain. Yeah, he is the villain. And I love what they did with him as the villain. Now, I love what happened at the beginning. The movie's cool. Like, it doesn't pick up as soon as Endgame ends. It doesn't, because they're already in school. They're at the end of the school year. They're taking us end of the school year trip, science trip. So it's funny, but he's talking about how he's likes Mary Jane, MJ now. He likes her now and stuff. So it did take place a little bit after Endgame, because they talk about the blimp. Because most of the world don't know about the Infinity Gauntlet or Snap. They know Thanos and stuff. But it was funny. I love how it opened up and they showed what happened when people disappeared. And then they're like, oh, 5 years later, we came back. We're the same age, but those people aren't. You know, all of that was great. It really was. The movie, I heard a lot at the beginning was slow, but it depends on what you like. For me, it was fine. You know, I wanted to see some character interaction with the characters in Peter's life. I saw a review this morning, and somebody was talking about they want Spider-Man to be a man. Handle man problems. Stop being a child. I want to be a kid. I want to have fun. But in the comics, Spider-Man as a teenager, college student, man, married man, when he was married to Mary Jane and stuff, he always wanted to have more time for his family, friends, and to live a normal life. You know, he didn't choose to become Spider-Man. It happened to him by accident. It's not like Robin, who Batman took under his wing and he trained, and he wanted to be a superhero. He did it because of the great power comes great responsibility thing. I mean, Spider-Man's quit. He's wanted to quit a bunch of times in the comics. He even let Ben Riley take over, and he was like, good, I can just be with Mary Jane, and she's pregnant, and we can be together. He always wanted a normal life, and he loved being Spider-Man. He loved the confidence came with it. He loved the abilities he had. He loved doing that stuff. He didn't like that he always had to do it. He always missed stuff, and that's Parker. He always misses out. He always can't make it. He always has to leave. He always has to hide, cover up, lie. He doesn't have to lie, but he did. And that's what I like that this movie did. It did a lot of that. There was action in the beginning. I mean, yeah, they did a lot of building up, but you want something like that in a movie like this. And I'm cool, like, movies being different. I don't know. Sometimes we're just not going to be pleased, because I could have ended up not really liking this one. I don't know if I like it more than Homecoming. I really don't. For right now, I would say I like them about the same, because they're very different. And they didn't just go to Venice, Italy. They went a bunch of places. But I enjoyed all of it. I enjoyed it all. Now, in the beginning, being slow, yeah, it's not action and quick, fast pace, boom, 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 boom. It's not Infinity War. But I enjoyed all of that. And there was an action scene with Mysterio at the beginning and one of the elementals. And, like news sites were reporting rumors that it was a guy in an underwater experiment or generator that blew, gave him water power. So, Hydro Man. When it was really Mysterio, but they're trying to spin a story so people think it's a guy named Hydro Man. I thought that was cool, but I would have rather seen Hydro Man. Like real Hydro Man, Yeah, so there was action set in there. We got to see Peter do some action outside of his suit and see how he has to handle a situation. He won his college trip, got friends. They're wondering where you at, and you got to go do stuff. And he puts that mask on his face. I was like, no, he did. Like, you got the clothes on still. Anyway, I loved the movie. I loved it. And Spider-Man was doing Spider-Man things. He wasn't in New York the majority of this film. So you get to see him swinging around other places. Prague, Venice. And I accepted it because it was a trip. And I knew it was different. It did feel different. But Spider-Man's left the United States in the comics, And there was a lot of suits in here. People were like, oh, there's too many suits. I don't think so. Look, how many of these movies we're going to get? It takes 2 years to make these movies sometimes because they want to get the story together, people doing other things, contract stuff. So you're not going to have, look at Iron Man. Almost every movie he had a new suit or more than one new suit, different versions. That's because in the comics, Iron Man is always creating new suits. Spider-Man had a lot of suits in the comics, you know what I mean? And different variations of his classic outfit. I think it's cool that we got these different suits. It made sense while he had them, too. They get destroyed, they get tore up. We're somewhere different. I don't want people to know it's me, Spider-Man. Made sense. Nick Fury being in this was fantastic. I remember Homecoming having Iron Man in there so much, and I was like, I think they had him in there just enough to the point where I didn't get annoyed. Anymore, I would have been like, man, this is too much. Because you do want to see a Spider-Man movie, him being Spider-Man. I wouldn't mind a quick cameo. You had him at the beginning. He was at the end telling him, hey, you can join the Avengers. That was cool. But also, they wanted the suit to get taken away from him. It would have been cool if he broke it or something, so he had to use his old outfit without all the enhancements. That could have worked. But they wanted a lesson to be learned in there. So 3 times we got Stark in there was cool. Another time he was on the phone in Homecoming, and he sent the suit to help out. Maybe that scene didn't need to be. I don't know. It worked for the movie. It's just that I wanted it to be more of a Spider-Man movie. Other than that, I still love Homecoming. It was like it's my favorite Spider-Man movie. I love the Raimi movies. Come on, man. I was 18 when the first one came out. I loved it. Oh wait, no, I was 20. 2002, right? I loved it. And that was the staple for me. I was like, oh my gosh, is there going to be any Spider-Man movie better than this? But Homecoming did a lot of stuff I wanted to see. Sam Raimi movies had him in high school, and they kind of college before the middle of the movie. He had spider powers. I didn't even mind that. How long are you going to keep him in high school? But having a whole movie where he's in high school as a teen, because it was only like 2 years or 2.5 years in the comics when he first came out. Spider-Man 1963 to 1965 or 66. He was in high school. He was in college all the way up until when I was in the 80s when I was a little kid. He was in college still and stuff like that. So, it's, he wasn't in high school that long. But I'm glad we got Homecoming. We got a true high school picture. And this one, he's still in high school, which is cool because a lot of the events happened back to back. You had Civil War, which was just like, a couple days before Homecoming happened. And then Homecoming was just, weeks or months before Infinity War happened. And then after Infinity War, you know, in Endgame, we get this one. You know, it was the same year. So it's not a lot of time that went past there. So I understand he's still in high school. But some of these characters' voices changing, their look is changing. It's time for them to be in college the next movie. So if we get the next one in 2 years or 3 years, they definitely should be in college. Definitely. I love the character interaction with everybody. I do like the way Zendaya plays Michelle, MJ. She's very different than the Mary Jane you know. I miss that type of person. I like Mary Jane from the comics. I grew up with Mary Jane from the comics, so I miss that. But I like Zendaya. She's awkward, and Peter talks about that. She's geeky and awkward. That's why he likes her. Ned and Betty makes sense. Betty was Peter's first love interest, and then Ned came along, and he had to compete. So it made sense that Ned and Betty was going to have some kind of relationship thing. All that was funny. It was great. It didn't mess up the movie for me. I like that. But it really starts to get kicking in the second hour. There's a lot going on. It was so many, a lot of funny moments, a lot of goofy stuff that's not really funny. Although when people in the theater are laughing, it makes you enjoy it more, you know, even if you didn't laugh. A lot of goofy stuff. And they know that. They know there's some stuff in there that's not hilarious, but it's just funny to see. They play on humor a lot in the MCU, so that's one thing we know we should expect, even though the movie can take really serious tones. But let's get into Mysterio real quick. Loved him. I love how Jake Gyllenhaal played him. Once the reveal happened that he's actually tricking and fooling everybody, it was fantastic. And I like how he was the guy who invented that technology that Starks was using for the therapy session thing in Civil War at the beginning. That was cool, because Quentin Beck was a special effects specialist, and he's always trying to put on a show. So that was cool. That was actually his tech. You know, it was just Stark was just distributing it and making some changes to it, whatever, the industry, Stark Industries. So it was his. Don't get confused. It ain't like he built the suit from Stark Tech. It ain't Jatari, you know, tech or stuff like that. Nope. That was all Quentin's. And he has a team, people who have been done wrong, who used to work for Stark. And the guy from the first Iron Man that told Obadiah, like, I'm sorry, I'm not Tony Stark. You know, I can't build this in a cave, and I can't build it now. I don't know how to do it. That was cool. They brought him back. He doesn't look bad. You know, it's been like 10 years since that, and he doesn't look bad at all, man. That guy's aging pretty well, you know? So I was wondering if that was the same actor, and I was like, yep, that's him. I love Mysterio. I love the illusions. That's why I was so pumped for this. A friend of mine, after the Homecoming, we were talking about like what villain we would like to see next, and Mysterio was on top of our list, and we find out online and, you know, through other mediums that a lot of people wanted Mysterio. It's because you can do some really trippy stuff, and they did that. I wanted to see more, but they did that. And since Peter relied on his spider sense, Peter Tingle. You know, that was cool, that scene. He was getting it in. For him taking on some drones, because in movies they like to talk about, oh, no real villain. I mean, how many villains you have? What do you want? It ain't Sinister Six yet, but like you gotta have something like the Chitauri or what was it, Parademons and stuff in DC, and you have to have a big horde of people for the superheroes to take out, or the action scene is going to be really quick. You fight the bad guys over, you know. And the drones, what he was doing with the drones, Peter was getting it in, man. He's like at the peak of his being comfortable with his abilities, what he can do, and he's showing he can handle some stuff without a full team. He was getting it in this. He was doing his thing. I like that he flips a lot. When he lands from web swinging, he flips. In the comics, he's always flipping, and cartoons always moving. It just happened so fast that I noticed that he did some classics, you know, like swinging maneuvers that he does. But it just happened so fast. On my second viewing, I was like, oh, he did the thing where he pulls it in between his legs when he swings. I love the movie. I can't talk about it enough. There's so much to talk about. And I love the first act, the second act, the third act. It seemed like it was more than 3 acts. But let's get into the Mysterio thing. I loved how he tricked everybody. Oh, tricked Peter at the end. Peter's thinking, it's cool because it plays into the end credits scene, and I'm gonna get to that in a moment. He's not dead. Mysterio's not dead. I know he's not. Okay, yeah. Love Nick Fury being in this. Mariah Hill, I like seeing her whenever I can see her. S.H.I.E.L.D. having an involvement in it. It felt good instead of having Iron Man or even Captain America, who's old now, or another, you know, character, superhero in the movie the whole time mentoring him. I like the, you know, dealing with S.H.I.E.L.D. and Nick Fury. But the end credits scene, the first one, this, by far, both times I saw it, everybody went nuts really hard on this scene. When they showed J.K. Simmons as Jonah Jameson, I remember him saying he will definitely come back to play Jonah Jameson because he enjoyed it so much. And I still to this day think that's one of the best comic book casting for a movie ever. Because he looked just like Jameson. When that first movie came out, my best friend and I were talking about how much he was just like, dude, that was like some of the best parts of that movie. J.K. Simmons playing Jonah Jameson. He's spot on. He doesn't have that flat top, wig that he was wearing. I believe he was bald back then. In the Raimi movies, and I don't care. He's got the voice. He's exactly what I pictured Jameson sounding like when I used to collect the old comics before I was born, and the cartoon and everything. I love his Jameson. I can't believe he's back. He's got an internet show now and everything. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see more of him. That was cool. And then Mysterio editing footage and making it seem like Peter was controlling the drones. Peter caused the casualties and putting out there his secret identity. Yeah, that's going to change a lot. Peter's got to move or something happen. He's got to hide them. Peter's friends, because everybody knows who his friends are. Villain's going to be after the friends, the high school companions. Aunt May's got to leave. Lots of stuff has to change in this now. It's crazy. It's crazy, right? Second end credit scene, you have to be really into the comics and S.H.I.E.L.D. and Nick Fury to know what's going on there. Showed that the Skrulls are back, Talos and his wife. And this is like almost 30 years if this is take place in 2020s, because that it's 5-year jump in Endgame. This is almost 30 years since Captain Marvel, the movie, when that took place in the 90s. So they've been around for a while. How long have Skrulls been playing or stepping in for Nick Fury? Because it's like that in the comics. Nick Fury used the LMDs for years, and we're finding out he was controlling them. He was on the moon base, and SWORD is like a organization, just like S.H.I.E.L.D., and they're trying to protect, prevent, and find out what's going on in the galaxy. And Nick Fury's working with the Skrulls. So that's kind of cool to see that all that comes into play. SWORD, Skrulls acting for Nick Fury instead of LMDs, because that was used in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Lovely. But in this, it's the Skrulls taking his place. That's pretty cool. And I like Talos. I like seeing him, so I enjoyed that. So a lot of people probably like, huh, what's going on? Well, the Skrulls is around what? Nick Fury, where's he at? If you're not really into the comics, you probably don't get that. And that's why I think they started doing these 2 post-end credit scenes, because one for people who's really into the lore that this stuff comes from, and then one for just general audience members who can say, oh, dang, that's cool. I love this movie. One thing that disappoints me is, since Mysterio isn't really from a different universe, there's no multiverse happening like that. That's not to say it can't. Because on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there's people coming from different universes or realities, so it probably can. There were some scenes that weren't in this that was in the trailers, and I kind of like that. But at the same time, you want to see some stuff. Like, he had the Iron Spider suit. He was taking out a bunch of bad guys. That's not in here. Fury didn't say the snap caused a tear in our reality. Sometimes they probably film stuff just for the trailers, because we feel like we see too much from the trailers and things like that. But yeah, Mysterio not really being from another Earth sucked. When we was in the movies and they said that, I'm like, oh, great. Because they can do so many different things with that. But there can be alternate realities out there. Cap probably caused one. In the alternate reality he came back from, that he married Peggy. Some people don't like the time travel elements in the Endgame because they don't understand it. Hey, man, would you understand the other ones? And they're fake. It's not real. It's just somebody's theory about how it could work. Back to the Future used to say, if you do something that breaks the laws of physics, you call it a time paradox, and it can destroy the universe because it's not supposed to be happening. That's the laws of physics, and you're breaking it. This says you just create alternate realities. That's what happens, because you're every moment you're living is your present. So when you go back in time, that's your present. And in order to change you being back in time and stuff like that, you had to change the past. I like that they came up with, you don't change your past. You can only change your future going forward with what you do in your present. Like, they took stuff from different timelines and brought it into the present. You can do that, but you can't change what already happened to you. If you do, you wouldn't be able to go back in time. For instance, think about it. If Marty McFly killed his dad by accident, whatever, but it just happens by his hands, or he manipulated something where somebody did it. If he killed his dad, like pointed a gun at him and shot him, he falls out of existence. But if he falls out of existence, he wouldn't have been able to even travel back in time because his dad was gone. He couldn't travel back in time to kill him. So it makes no sense. So it breaks the laws of physics, and it would destroy the universe. That's what Doc Brown said. In Marvel MCU universe, you just create alternate realities. That's it. And I kind of like that. If you don't like it, oh well. It makes sense to me. I mean, it makes sense they explained it. It's just that everybody's like, but what about this? What about that? What about this? Whatever. Anyway, I love Tom Holland as Parker and Spider-Man. He wasn't joking around a lot in this movie because this was a lot different. He had a lot of weight on his shoulders thinking he failed. He messed up, made a mistake. Maybe that's why. Because when he's Spider-Man, he says a lot of quips and he's joking around all the time and stuff, you know. And but he was displaying his skills a lot, and I like that new suit. A lot of people was like, wow, don't even say the black and red for Miles. Parker had a black and red suit before, and yeah, I understand that, and I feel the sympathy. Let it be special for Miles, but I like it. I'm sorry. I like this new suit. It's so good. I like the colors, everything. First time I saw the pictures of that, I was like, whoa, like it. Yeah, he's my favorite superhero, so I might be biased a lot of times. I love his movies. I want to see more. I can't wait to see more. Tom Holland's already played him 5 times, more than anybody else. And that's crazy, man. I got a lot of him. You know, if we only get one more movie with Tom Holland and Spider-Man, cool. Spider-Man standalone, cool. I love it. I just hope it you can't get everything from 60 plus years worth of comic history in these movies. It's not going to happen, you know? So you got to enjoy what you can enjoy about it. Yeah, so I enjoyed it. I really did. I loved the movie. I can't say I love it more than Homecoming because I like Homecoming for what it was, and I like this for what it was. I don't even like saying what I like more than whatever. I just love these movies. Marvel fanatic. I do love DC comics, though. You know what I mean? I want to put that out there. I got into DC pretty late. I was always a Superman fan and read his comics, but I got into DC pretty late. But I love DC comics. I just love Marvel more. You know, that's it. Yeah, so leave some comments. Let me know. I talked for like 20 minutes, man. I tried to make it short. But stuff is on your mind, and you know, that's why you gotta write these little scripts or have your notes and stuff and talk about things. Try to do that, but stuff comes in your head, man. The movie was great. Go see it. Please go see it. It was good. It was great. If you don't like it, then you don't like it. It's not your cup of tea. Everything isn't gonna please everybody, you know. So anyway, leave some comments. We can talk about some of the stuff down below. I just, you know, I'm gonna watch some more reviews, see who else did some reviews. I love hearing what people thought about this stuff. So anyway, that's it. Spider-Man Far From Home review. See you next time.